Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton.
And I am Thabiti Mpina.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback,
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
And take us along with you. Feedback. Take us along with you. Always know that you can do that. Hi, I'm Theo Broughton, co-founder of Hood Research, and my co-host,
Thabiti, and we welcome you to the program.
Absolutely. Oh, and it's not as cold as it could be outside, so that's something to feel good about. And we're going into the Thanksgiving. But first, I want to say happy Monday to Sister Fedora and Sister Charlene and to Carl and to Keith Hines and to Ron. And I want to say happy Monday to Jesse and all of those of you who tune in every Monday when we come on. We thank you so much for tuning in and joining our program and sharing that information with others. Thabiti.
Yes, I'd like to give a shout out to Professor Griggs, Brother Mark Cummings, also Jackie, Ruth Ann, Brenda, and as always, demonstrate to you. Hold it up for the camera. You see I got a pen and paper in my hand. You should have pen and paper handy by yourself as well, because as we progress in the show, we'll have different information that you'll want or need, phone numbers, etc., including how to join Hood Research. So we want you to be able to put that information down. And I want to shout out to Andrea Fields, who was our guest a couple of weeks ago, and just say that, you know, we are glad that you want to spend some time with us.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I need to share with everyone that Mark Cummings' mother died this past Monday. And the funeral home is Fisher Funeral Home, which is on 5 Mile and Telegraph. The services at this time that I've been told about are on November the 30th. And the time I haven't been told yet, but that's when things are going to take place. So the Fisher Funeral Home on 5 Mile and Telegraph would have the time of the event. And as soon as we hear more, we'll share that with you as well. Thabiti.
Yes, just for our audience, as we know that, you know, we have our concerns here locally, statewide, as well as nationally. But we should be aware of different things that are happening internationally. And I try to keep up with that because whatever happens internationally does affect us as well. And I want to say now we're in the latter part of November, but since October 7th of this year, the United States has given almost $18 billion. I want to emphasize 18 with a B, $billion of military aid to Netanyahu, who is fighting in the Gaza Strip now. $18 billion, and we're saying it just in a 6-week period of time, is a lot of money. And that's American tax money that's going there. Of course, they use different strategies and terminology so that you don't really know exactly what's what. And then, too, we're concerned with higher prices, particularly with food and other things. So those matters take a priority, but we should not be unaware of what's going on because, again, that's our tax dollars. Mm-hmm. And I want to say that as I've done research on this, because I try to be abreast of many things rather than just a few, have a broad base of knowledge, I'll say. One of the things Einstein himself said that in 1948, when the United Nations decided to set up a homeland in Palestine, just right after World War II, mind you, that Einstein felt it was a bad idea to have set up a homeland in Palestinian land for Israel. And a lot of people respect Einstein. Certainly his name is known, even if it doesn't go beyond that. And one of the things that has happened, if we consider, just look at the United States history, it started as 13 colonies. Everybody's pretty familiar with that. We've been fed that. But now it's expanded from coast to coast. Of course, we know that as well. So that meant the Native American was moved further and further off the land that they occupied in the beginning. We're talking about Cherokee, Cheyenne, Iroquois, so many other different Native American tribes have moved over. Well, the same thing has happened over in Palestinian land. Mm-hmm. The little land that was given to the resettlement of the Jews after World War II has done the same thing that the 13 colonies done. It's just constantly pushed the Palestinian people out. So I want to give another shout out. You see this scarf that I have, which represents Palestine. I want to give give a shout out to Katrina, who gave me this. And I, like many other people, Malcolm X, Huey P. Newton, and certain others, many others, as a matter of fact, I support oppressed people anywhere in the world that they are. And hopefully this slaughter, some would say genocide, ends. But I just wanted you all to be aware of that, because we hear this stuff on the news, but we need to have at least a basis of understanding. And again, $18 billion, and this is over a 6-week period of time. So imagine how much that money could help here in these United States. So I just wanted to share that with everyone, that try to be aware of everything. One of the other things I want to bring up quickly as well is that China and Russia have warned the United States about, Biden just recently gave Vladimir Zelensky the okay to use long-range missiles for the war that's brewing. I mean, it's been going on 3 years now in Ukraine, between Russia and Ukraine. So Joe Biden gave Vladimir Zelensky, who was the president of Ukraine, the permission to use these long-range missiles. So therefore, at this point, Russia and the Chinese have warned the United States about how this would escalate. Now, 45, who's about to be 47th president, said he was trying to intimidate everyone, saying that, well, we're headed for World War III now if you let Kamala Harris get in. Well, with the positioning that the USA is in, we're already headed that way anyway. It had nothing to do with Kamala, but of course, we know 45 is very crafty at lying and influencing people and calling people names too. And somehow or another, it's like when the bully on the schoolyard starts calling people names, everybody wants to start calling the same person names. So let us just be aware of what they call geopolitical or global politics, because our young men, they may reinstitute the draft, so our young men may also end up getting caught up with troops over there in one of these two countries. And then, they say it's WW1, that's World War I, WW2, World War II. And I just say white world war, because that's what it is. African nations, South American nations, etc., they're not in on this mess. And hopefully they don't get dragged into this mess either. But this is one Caucasian nation or nations fighting other nations. Let us step back from that. Let them settle their own problems. Don't send our boys away to become casualties of war. And as you know, black men will be on the front line, so they'll be the first one to take bullets. We can't have that anymore, because we still don't have rights here. And that's my little diatribe for today.
All right. Well, we are getting closer and closer to Thanksgiving, and there are many things to be thankful for, and that's something to consider and ponder, because sometimes people are so busy doing things that they don't stop and say, well, there are some things I can be thankful for, and just consider what they are. and then just speak that. You don't have to do a formal prayer session or call the city to order to do it. You can do it quietly, to yourself, in the morning, in the evening, in the afternoon, when you're about the business of things around your home or at your job or the community. But just think about, what are you thankful for? And it's not something that is to be considered and said to yourself once a year. It's something that you do regularly. If you were around the house and you had to pick up a crocheting needle, and you hadn't had it in weeks, you said, my goodness, wonder where it is. And you're about the business of doing things around you, and all of a sudden, there it is. Be thankful for that. As minor as it is, you'll be thankful. You thank God for the little things. You thank God for the big things. You thank Him. You just do that as a regular habit. On Thursday, there will be a lot of cooking going on. Oh, I heard that gasoline may be under $3 too, by the way. But anyway, with all this cooking going on, one of the things they've been saying now for years is don't put the stuffing inside the turkey, because it can set up and create poisonous gas, etc., make you sick. So you have to cook your dressing in a separate pan. And it's not difficult to cook the turkey, but you wash it off and you season it with your seasoning that you like to use, and then you put an onion and a couple of carrots inside the turkey, and you make sure that you put some oil on it, melted butter or some olive oil, so that it browns really pretty for you too. At the end of the day, this Thanksgiving, after everybody is stuffed and they can hardly move, think about what you're going to do with the turkey. There's always turkey left. So you can slice some pieces and put them in a Ziploc bag. You can put them in the freezer, and then you slice a few other pieces for lunches when you need to have lunches. And you take the part that you like, and the turkey is light meat and dark meat, and make a turkey salad. And that's a different menu item, different taste. And after that, with more turkey that's going to be left, you make soup. Turkey soup, which will be good. You can get a couple boxes of mixed vegetables and add them to the pot, and the pieces of turkey that you cut up are added also. And you end up with a good turkey soup. And those are ways to use the leftover turkey once the meal is finished on Thanksgiving Day. And it's a good opportunity to think about that, because you do have to eat the next day, and the day after that, and the day after that, and so on. That's the habit of life. You eat something every day. But with arranging different recipes, okay, the slices of turkey, make sandwiches for your lunch to take to school or to work, etc. That's one meal. Then you would have the next, you chop up the turkey and make turkey salad. That would be another meal. And then you have some left. That's when you put the turkey that's left in the pot for soup. And you make sure that you season it the way you like it and be careful of salt. But you have a good idea for other ways and other tastes. And the video tastes different too. If you're eating turkey salad, it's different than when you had a turkey sandwich.
I would add to a few things. When you suggested people get, a box of mixed vegetables, let me suggest people get frozen vegetables over boxed, only because of the salt content.
Right.
And so in our community, blood pressure, just like the Hispanic community, has been a very strong issue. So if you can avoid anything in boxes and in cans, go frozen first. Also, when you mentioned gas prices going below $3, lately I've got filled up both of my vehicles, and the gas is $2.67 and $2.69. But so it pays to look around, because you can spend more if you want, if you got money that you don't mind wasting. But I purchased my gas for $2.67, and then it was another station that wasn't farther away. It was $2.69, and everything I see has been $3.19, $2.89, $2.99. So as old Benny Franklin used to say, a penny saved is a penny earned. Now, you can't see my full t-shirt, but it says, because after Thanksgiving, as Theo was talking about, will be quote unquote Black Friday, right? So that means everybody going out there just giving their money. So my shirt says Black dollars matter, and they do matter. So you make it a point to spend with different Black businesses. We already know the big box stores are going to get their money, whether it's Target, Myers, whoever, they're going to get their money. Spend it with local Black vendors. They may be selling clothing, jewelry. Some have food and provide catering. Some have artwork. If you go along the avenue of fashion, you can really clean up because there's so many different shops there, African American as well as African. So I'm just suggesting that when Black Friday comes and Cyber Monday comes and you start giving your money, give money to people who can hire people that look like you, increase their business foundation, so that way they can expand and have other businesses throughout the city and even around the metro area. Support Black businesses. And I'll just leave you with this. There's 7 principles of Kwanzaa. The one that means the most to me is Ujima, which is cooperative economics. That means we spend money with each other. We already know Italians are going to spend with Italians. Jewish people are going to spend with Jewish people, Hispanic, et cetera, et cetera. Well, we should follow that model. Spend your money. And here where we're at now, WHPS, WHPR Studios, get involved in that too. You don't have that many outlets where your voice can be heard and your concerns can be met. This station does that. And there's no reason for you to be looking beyond Highland, WHPR, WHPS right here in Highland Park. Support R.J. Watkins, Henry Tyler, our wonderful engineer, Tim Smith, always on the case. Support this station. And that's my second diatribe for today.
Nothing wrong with that at all. There are many issues that we get to have a diatribe. So, we talk about the need for people to be involved. And one of the areas I think that we definitely need involvement is with our schools. But our schools are the ones who have young people whose minds and are evolving, the development of their social mores, if you will. And there was an effort, and I think it goes back to 1998, 99, when John England was the governor, becoming governor, etc. And it seemed that there might have been a meeting then to talk about the destruction of our public school system. Because the curriculum was changed and things were taken out. And then things got worse. And then we had a bankruptcy and it spilled over with the schools. And I think it was an opportunity to get a hold of the surplus. We had somewhere around $93, $94 million. And, folks just come out of the woodwork wanting to take control of it. Well, now we see that the change of the curriculum has not helped our young people. And they need tutors to read. And a case was won, $94 million. And that money was to be used for the tutoring of our young people. Then the governor signed into law the fact that our students have to pass the math, the opportunity to have tutoring in the area of math. And we're not talking about some big time math program for some corporation. It just basic stuff that they need to know. And when they graduate from high school, not knowing basic skills, it's just sad. It saddens me. And we just had an election. We have no men were elected for the school board. And I think that it would have been good had we had that, because the community would have had the input of a man at the school system, which would be wonderful to have the representative with the board. But go ahead.
And something I read within the last couple of weeks, they were talking about African American teachers nationwide, and the male African American teachers comprise less than 5% of all teachers in the nation. That's a dismal amount of African American men who would be in a position not only as a visual representation of what young black men could aspire to, but also the influence and just the cultural attachment. So we need more. And I do know brothers who have taught within the school system. I've worked with them, and their influence, their presence is is absolutely necessary. So when you speak about like a loss of many different programs, and I can only reflect on how when I came through, I took every class they had: wood shop, metal shop. I was taking typing. I took piano. I was at Southeastern as well as Martin Luther King High School, Go Crusaders. So I have had a chance for a very well-rounded experience through high school to be able to then figure out, what do I want to do with my life? We need these kind of programs. And we need parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts to attend these meetings because your grandchildren, your children, your nieces and nephews all are in need of our support so that they can move on. I'm glad to say that with my granddaughter, I've been very supportive. She's actually just had an article published in the Detroit Public School magazine, and she did it at the school that she's at, but it's a magazine that goes throughout the entire Detroit Public School system. And her article was based on bullying. I have to say that I'm very proud of her. She surprised me, really. She's extremely articulate. She's very well thought out. I want to think that some of it came rubbed off of me, but it was just, I just take that, bit of, praise for myself. But we have to involve ourselves. So I'm always encouraging her. She's looking to go to an HBCU, but we're trying to get her to, even with HBCU, we're trying to get her initially just to take a few courses at home. Now we're here at the bottom of the hour, just like that.
Man, things just speed right along. We'll refresh your juice and your coffee and call someone. Tell them to tune in right here on WHPR. And remember, you can follow us anywhere. We'll be back momentarily.
I'm James Ford, founder of the Obama Weekend, and a partner of the Hood Research Team, composed of the knowledgeable Theo Broden, the super analyst Henry, and the colorful Al Martin. This team discusses politics, seen and not seen, at the national, state, and local level. But to enhance the goals of this team, join or donate to Hood Research by visiting Twitter or Facebook, or visit hoodresearch.org, or call 248-234-2371. You can also join Hood Research on Phonecast every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time by calling 978-990-5000, access code 338729. Thank you very much.
It's the These Nuts Show with your host, Butter and friends. Butter here, magician escape artist, practicing for my show tonight. Come on in, have a seat.
Everybody settle. Butter, you're on in 5, 4, 3, 2.
In a few seconds, there gotta be enough to get out of this one. Twist a little turn, ta-da! It's showtime! It's your old friend Butter here. I may be a nut, but I know to wear my mask. Please welcome my first guest tonight, fitness guru, Wally Wallnut.
Wally Wallnut here to tell you to wash your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds so you will stay healthy and strong like me.
Almond Cruz here, sliding in with the news. Distance is what we must do to stay away from the chew and other germs in the air that might be trying to get on you. Social distancing is a wonderful way to see friends. As long as you're 6 feet apart, you win.
Hey there, friends. I wouldn't miss this for the world. It's me, Pumpkin Spice, your healthy girl. Remember, it's important to use your kind hearts and follow the signs to stay healthy and safe at all times.
Chica Chiminsky here to say, don't forget the little ones that need you to lead the way. That's how we remember to wash our hands, mask, and social distance today.
Morgan Raisin. Yes, it's me, here to sing about health and safety. We are all here to help get a message out to your grapevine, teaching healthy choices to stay safe all the time.
Don't let these guys drive you nuts. Put your mask on first. They'll let you be. And it keeps me safe from the
chew
that's trying to get on me.
Butter me up. She's right, you know. Thank you, Hallie Cranberry, for joining the show. Let's all be nuts about our health. Social distancing, wash your hands frequently, use hand sanitizer, and wear a mask. Practice what we learned to stay away from the chew germ. We're all in this together. Coming soon, the many adventures of these nuts in a theater near you.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am the BDM Pinda,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback. And take us along with you. And we are back Monday morning. Thanksgiving week. We're getting closer and closer and closer. I hope you all have your plans together. At least if you can't physically go to your loved ones, plan to call them and spend some time and talk with them on the phone and see how they're doing and let them know you miss them, you love them. That would be a wonderful conversation, especially for the grandparents in the family. So often they are forgotten, and people think that, well, they don't want to bother with them, and that's not it. I think they're happy to hear you call to see how they're doing. And you know, Sabidi, I had an opportunity to sing at my granddaughter's wedding. I was surprised when she called and asked me. And of course, I was glad to do it. But so often, young people go and they put their plans together for whatever they want, you know, at their wedding or whatever event it happens to be. And they don't even think about asking grandparents to participate. But it was a lovely wedding. And I was surprised and honored that I was included to that degree.
Yeah, I would add that everything that you do with family, whatever generation they may be in, and particularly during this time where we can actually record things on our phones. Back in the day, it was all about Kodak and Polaroid. But even then, we had something that would capture a memory. And as my mom has just recently done, she's taken out a lot of photos of us that she wants to give us over this holiday period or season that we didn't even know we had. I've got some when I was on a bike. Couldn't even, I imagine I might have been 1 year old or something like that, but it was on a tricycle. And she's got pictures where they may have even had to hold me up to take a picture because I wasn't walking then. So I'm saying that to say that when you mentioned singing at your granddaughter's wedding, we can capture memories and then we can go back over time and reflect on them and even regather or reclaim that good feeling we had when we were in that moment, because we never want those moments to get away. So it's very important. And now, the other thing I would say when you mentioned grandparents, right now in today's world, grandparents are more involved. Most of them anyway are more involved in their children and grandchildren's life than ever before. I take my granddaughter to and from school. Parents are working now, so that extended family, that network is even more important now. So I never look at it as a bonding moment because I just pick her up. That's a responsibility. But within that responsibility comes the bonding. You know, she'll tell me about different things going on. So it's very important, not only during this time, but a year when they say people seem to have a little bit more loneliness. But a phone call is very effective. And I would add this as a retired person from the Postal Service. Send a card or something, because just like a picture, that's something physical that they can hold on to. It expresses a meaning or an emotion or a feeling that you say, during this holiday season, I want to send love to you. Next Monday will be the 1st of December. So we're marching to the end of the year, y'all. And it ain't going to stop because we stop.
Yes. And it is interesting how fast time seems to go. it's a good way to describe it, but you begin a project of some kind, whatever it happens to be, and before you know it, it's over. I'm like, hey, wait a minute, we just started this, but time has a different meaning as you get older, you know.
There's that old expression, time flies,
Mm-hmm.
but it only flies when you're busy. If you ain't doing nothing, it just seems you're looking at your watch every 10 minutes like, man, when am I going to get off the clock? Or when is this going to be over with, a meeting or whatever it may be? So the primary thing I would say is make sure that you're active in something, whether it's reading, whether it's, and make sure that it's something that will uplift you. We need to be uplifted right now. You know, I mean, I don't understand it, but they got these shows like The Bachelorette and all these so-called reality shows. There's nothing real about it. You got cameras everywhere. We don't live in that kind of a environment where we got a camera monitor. You know, who cares about the Golden Bachelorette? And she's got 20 different guys trying to hit on her, and she in this short space of time, or The Voice. I mean, it's not something. There's nothing wrong with being entertained. But don't let that be the only thing that you do with your life. Let your life also be about something that builds you in terms of your character, who you are. You may have wanted to play the harmonica or something. And as Theo had mentioned, the crochet needles. Just do something.
Right. You know, I think that if a person were to just say, turn off the TV. TV is, you know, part of our lives now, and it is not going to stop anytime soon. And we have the social media and the telephones, and the telephones are just a little computer in the opportunity to use it for growth is good. You know, there's a part on your phone where you can list a group. So if there's a group you want to share something with, I have a friend who does that. And if something comes up from the news that everybody needs to know, you know, okay, just encapsulate it, put it on your phone, and text it out or email it out, and that's the. I just can't express enough how important it is to share with your group of friends, to let them know what's going on. Or you may hear, like you were saying earlier, that the gasoline was $2.67 a gallon.
Right.
Hey, that's something to text to people, to email to people, to have your list of friends and let them know, hey, I heard this morning, and the gasoline $2.67. Oh my goodness. Can't beat that with a stick.
Sly Soul actually responded on Facebook saying, thanks for the information, her and a few other people. But our audience knows of Sylvia, a.k.a. Sly Soul, Sly Gold. And so she was happy to see the information, and especially if you're on E. And I was on E both times.
Oh, no.
So, but I knew I already had my plan in place that I'm going to go and hit these spots because I can get more bang for my buck. Why should I spend 20, 30, 40 cents more a gallon? I get 10 gallons or more. That's $4, and my tank holds, let's say, maybe about close to 20. So I saved about $8, which I could use that to do something else with. So we have to be mindful of that, and let's be mindful of our dollars too, because although we're in this holiday season of buying, one of the things we don't want to do is incur debt that's going to run us over. I mean, because a credit card, there's a couple of old sayings, one of which was when we deal with credit, and that's what credit cards do. It says credit is something that lets you start at the bottom and dig yourself into a hole. And that's what a lot of people will do. because you're not spending your money at that time. And then the interest rates on some of these cards is just astronomical. They may go from 20, 30%. You're losing a lot of money. And if you don't pay the minimum, monthly minimum, then that can act against you in terms of what your credit rating is. And that's how we really function in society, based on credit rating. You want to buy a car, you want to buy a house, you have to have a good credit rating. If you don't, then you're going to get into some crazy interest rates in order to get that vehicle or that home or whatever it is you might want to buy. And deal with your needs, your necessities, not your wants.
You know, that reminds me of the days when I heard about the factories where many people worked, and there was an individual who would loan you some money, and but say if he loaned you $1, you'd have to pay him back $1.25. You know, if he loaned you 100, you'd have pay him back 125. Now, this was something that went on for years. The next thing you know, we got it, and the credit card has a higher interest rate. And then some of the credit cards may have the same interest rate as these men had in the factory. But it's just interesting to me that when we have something in our community that has been working, I'm not to say that was a good thing to have people pay, 25%. But all of a sudden, the credit card companies are charging higher rates of interest.
It's a ripoff.
Yeah.
They catch you in a vulnerable position, and then I don't want to say naively, but sometimes we're not mindful, put it that way, of the fact, oh, well, let me just give them my Visa, let me give them my MasterCard, this or that, as if you didn't have to pay that back. And that's why a lot of times, like it's been said over the years, how they have certain little items at the checkout counter on either side of the aisle as you're waiting to put your groceries or items on the conveyor belt for the cashier. So those spontaneous purchases, something you never even thought about, oh, well, yeah, I see they got this little glue here. Let me get this. It's on sale. Don't be or feel compelled to buy something that you don't necessarily want. But the deal seems good because it'll end up sitting around your house, and whether you like it or not, that's your money. And you have to pay it back. It's not, nobody gifted you anything. Sometimes they'll gift you something as bait to get you to buy other things. It's like the carrot before the horse. They put it in front of you, and you all in, and then before you know, it's like, Lord, I didn't know that bill was going to be this high. Try not to be impulsive when you make purchases. And one thing I want to tell people, because I've had to say this to some of my offspring, just to help them understand, if you're going to work for 8 hours during the day, don't leave your furnace on for that full 8 hours. Turn the thermostat down. Don't heat a house that nobody's in. They do have smart thermostats now, and you got your phone anyway. They got smart thermostats where you can remotely control your thermostat. So maybe just before, a half hour before you get off from work, hit that thing on that app on your phone, turn your furnace on, but don't heat up an empty house, because one thing for sure, DTE and Consumers Energy gonna get their money. And if they don't, you're gonna be in a cold house in the winter. So try not to be wasteful. The best analogy I can give, I used to do this with my children, but as adults, we need to be reminded of things. You tell them, hey, look, when you come out of the bathroom, turn that light off, or something along that line. But, they don't appreciate that. But I used to tell them, I say, well, look, if you left the bathroom, would you leave the water running? Which is a utility bill as well. No. Well, why are you going to leave the lights on? because that bill's still going to be paid. And DTE don't care how long you leave it on. They just know in 30 days you get a bill coming.
Right.
And if you get too far behind and there's no thaw program or something for you, then you're going to be in the dark and you're going to be in the cold. And change your filters as well, because you don't want to have the filter that's dirty, which at some point, number one, it's going to keep you from getting the full heat that you would get because it's dirty. And two, it could become a hazard in other ways. So every so often, they get filters that last for 1 month. They get some that are better that might last for 3 months or 6 months. But change that filter, because that's another reason why people have respiratory issues as well, because they're breathing in something that's dirty, and whatever you breathe in becomes a part of your body. We can't afford to have bad health. We got enough issues with the food as it stands. So these are just little helpful things that as we go into this season, nobody wants to be in a cold house. Change that filter and monitor how you use your heat. Turn it down when you don't need it and turn it up when you do need it, but don't have it up all the time. I worked with a guy once. I'm not sure. Well, I just put it like this. His name was Wes. He's been retired, so he won't know one way or the other. But he said he used to just have his children and his old lady wear sweaters around the house. He said, we ain't turning this thermostat up no more, so y'all better put a sweatshirt or something on and handle it. Well, you may not want to go that far, but like I said, don't heat a house that you're not in. You can turn it on when you get there. 15, 20 minutes, your house will be warm enough for you. Just don't heat a house that you're not there.
But there's something else about time. Between the hours of 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. They don't say this a lot, and I only heard it one time. But between 3 p.m. and 7 p.m., you don't use the machine to wash your clothes, because the rate of charging you is higher then. And I thought, well, that must be it must be right. And so to only have it on once, I think does us a disservice. That ad should be on later, with the next hour or so, and tomorrow go to a different time, and the second on the other two.
Yeah, the DTE and maybe Consumers Energy. DTE, they have a thing where they're trying to balance the use. I think we have a caller. So we're going to let the caller become a part of our conversation.
Oh, okay.
Caller, you're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us?
Let's all go.
Hi. Happy Monday.
I got you guys on radio, wecansee.com, and I'm able to share with the Facebook page.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, you guys are on Facebook.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys covered a lot of topics, and I caught on when he was talking about the grandparents. I was so happy that my son invited me, and they picked me up to see my grandson participate at the Science Center. They had a Lego robotics contest.
Oh.
And, yeah, so my grandson participated. His little robot won.
Oh, it did.
So I don't know
wow.
the final runs. They had the final runs around 4:00. We was there all day because all the different schools that were there. But it was just so exciting to see our young folks in technology. It was just so much fun to see them. They were so into their robots, and so that's just we need to know that all our children are not getting swept under the rug and lost and neglected, and
right.
they got some love and loving parents. And this young lady, she sat by me and started sharing issues with, I think she had 4 or 5 children and she lost one. And she was talking about how important it is that she stay on her job and make sure that the children are engaged in, in life skills and learning and production. And I was so happy to hear her because she sounded like me when I was raising my child. I was like, I'm keeping him, the streets won't get this one, you know. So I'm happy to see my sons doing what I did with him when he was a child and keep him in structured and, productive programs, learning.
That is wonderful. Yeah. I just want to reiterate this. As far as using your water at home between the hours of 3 and 7, it seems to me that this should be illegal. But between the hours of 3 p.m. and 7 p.m., you should not use the washing machine, take a shower, cook and wash dishes in the kitchen because the rate is higher during that time than it is.
They're going to scam us to the end.
Well,
that should be illegal.
I'll say that I'm glad at least that they're letting us know, because that way we don't have to, get caught off guard. And, that's a 4-hour period. So that means we got 20 other hours within that day, a 24-hour day to take care of that kind of business. So I'm happy only in that at least they let us know what they're doing. And as I'm going to tell you personally, which is why I can go along with some of this, at least twice a year my power is out. And it may be out for a day up to 3 or 4 days. And so if them doing that will help them upgrade the grid and all that stuff, then I'm all for it, because I had to buy a generator, which I hooked up so that way when the power did go out, and we know the snowstorms are coming, ice storms are coming, and a lot of our utilities, some people, and particularly, and it's hurtful too, in some of these senior citizen buildings where they lose power, the boiler or whatever is out. So again, I just say that I'm happy that at least, warn me that, if you drive this fast during this time, I'm going to get a ticket. Well, then I know during that time, I'm not going to do it. I just have to make it work for me because I can't control it.
Well,
know better to do better.
Yeah, that's it. Good
and
research.
We have to save ourselves from extra robbing us at the bank.
Yes.
Robbing our bank. Also, you guys had hit on some other things about the heat, and I'm the same way. When I'm home, I'll let the house warm up, but when I leave, I turn that stuff off, because like you said, if I'm gonna be gone 8 hours or more, why am I heating an empty house? It always worked for me, and I don't even live in the house, but I see the difference in my utilities when I do that, when I conserve and I save. My bills never over sometimes $40, $50. Sometimes it's all the way down to $20 a month, because I be reserving. I be like, hey,
that's good. That's very good.
Home, heat when I'm in and shutting it off when I'm leaving.
That's very good, especially for someone who works a job and 8 hours on the job.
Right.
It takes time to get to the job, be it 30 minutes or another hour. And that same amount to get back home, you're talking about 10, 11, 12 hours a day that you can have at home. Oh, that's a great idea. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Especially if it's not going to hurt anything, or it's not going to bust any pipes, or, like it's so cold, it's going to bust the pipe. But when I'm in, heat when I'm in and shutting it off when I'm leaving, because I just don't have no extra donations for these people that's robbing us blind on the daily.
Oh, that's true.
Pockets ain't that deep.
Isn't that
Even if they was deep, they don't stay deep long if you waste it.
If you wasting it, like wasting time.
Even a rich man know how to save money.
All kind of stuff coming up.
One thing you said earlier when you were talking about your grandson, Slasso, is that you like the idea of the robotics because of life skills. And I add this to what Theo was saying earlier in our school system where the children are not learning a lot of life skills. We can learn academics, but you still have to participate in just the everyday thing that people do, life skills. So I like when you said that because if we instill that in our youth while they're young, and like you said, he was enthusiastic, he won, that right there, just that energy that it gives you is enough to make you want to do it. Now we're heading to our top of the hour break now.
Oh, goodness gracious. We have to pause for the cause. And we want you to refresh your orange juice, your coffee, or tea, and call someone. Maybe there's a time when you work with someone. All right, so do that, and we'll be back momentarily.
It's the These Nuts Show with your host Butter and friends. Butter here, magician escape artist, practicing for my show tonight. Come on in, have a seat. In a few seconds, you gotta be enough to get out of this one. Twist a little turn. Ta-da! It's showtime. It's your old friend Butter here. I may be a nut, but I know to wear my mask. Please welcome my first guest tonight, fitness guru, Wally Wallnut.
Wally Wallnut here to tell you to wash your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds so you will stay healthy and strong like me.
Almond Cruz here, sliding in with the news. Distance is what we must do to stay away from the chew and other germs in the air that might be trying to get on you. Social distancing is a wonderful way to see friends. As long as you're 6 feet apart, you win.
Hey there, friends. I wouldn't miss this for the world. It's me, Pumpkin Spice, your healthy girl. Remember, it's important to use your kind hearts and follow the signs to stay healthy and safe at all times.
Chica Chiminsky here to say, don't forget the little ones that need you to lead the way. That's how we remember to wash our hands, mask, and social distance today.
Morgan Raisin. Yes, it's me, here to sing about health and safety. We are all here to help get a message out to your grapevine, teaching healthy choices to stay safe all the time.
Don't let these guys drive you nuts. Put your mask on first. They'll let you be. And it keeps me safe from the
chew
that's trying to get on me.
Butter me up. She's right, you know. Thank you, Hallie Cranberry, for joining the show. Let's all be nuts about our health. Social distancing, wash your hands frequently, use hand sanitizer, and wear a mask. Practice what we learned to stay away from the germ. We're all in this together. Coming soon, the many adventures of these nuts in a theater near you.
WGPR Detroit HD2.
You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton.
And I am Thabiti Mpina.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback,
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
And take us along with you. Feedback. And take us along with you. We are back and we have a guest with us, Joan Washington. Now, I would like you to start by telling us, who is Joan Washington?
Thank you so much, and thank you for allowing me to be on your show. Well, you know what? I am with TMB Global News Network. I am a native Detroiter. So what we're all about, Theo, is we're about community development and planning. And what we are doing for the city of Detroit and for the globe, we have something called ADI, and it is the African Diaspora Institute. And what we want to do is we want to bring people together from all over and tell our history about the global diaspora. And one of the things that God has allowed me to do is I spent 11 years overseas. I worked in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for 6 years. I was in Yemen for 3 years, Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania, Bujumbura, Burundi, South Africa, working with the United States government, working with U.S. embassies. And then one of the things that I had the pleasure of doing is peeling off myself, getting to understand who I am, but being very comfortable in my skin because God allowed me to be a strong woman. And I've always felt that connection with God and the principles that my mother and my grandparents instilled in me. And that was understanding, that we all have a purpose, and I met this gentleman, and it was a long story, but it was a very beautiful story. People have misperceptions about people. Why? Because we are not exposed to people. We if somebody tell us something from generations to generation, we tend to follow that without stepping forward to say, you know what, this isn't true. Let me step out. So what I met a gentleman. I was working as a college professor for Prince Mohammed bin Fayed University in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So I met this gentleman, and let me tell you, he was no ordinary person, but I never found out who he was, believe it or not, until about 3 years later, I found who this man really was. But I went to something called Toastmasters. And in Saudi Arabia, you teach, you do your thing, and then you go home because it was a closed environment back then. So someone asked me to go to Toastmasters, and I did. And so I met a gentleman, and he was just so full of life and full of joy, but he was blind. So he heard my accent. So he asked me, are you American? I said, yes, I am. He said, well, can you help me with my speech? Just like that. I said, well, sure. He said, how much you charge? He said, I'll charge you anything. He says, good. He said, well, can you help teach my kids English? I said, well, sure. He said, how much you charge? I said, nothing. So I was just so taken aback because, we were always told that, okay, you can't do this and you can't do that. Not what you can do. Right. So through the years, I had a wonderful experience with him because we became very close. And that was quite unusual. And so in my classes, when I taught something called Friday Forum. Now, Mr. Alaturki is a brilliant man. And he taught me about blindness because I was one of those people who thought blindness was contagious. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought that blindness was a curse. I thought, oh my God, I would kill myself if I was blind. But that man has so much love and joy and adventure and excitement. And he said, my sister, he said, I wouldn't change a thing. He said, God has taught me, it's a gift to be blind. And he says, do you know why? Because I don't see the prejudiceness of people. I don't judge if somebody's fat or thin. I don't judge of the color. If somebody come to me, I could feel it in their spirit. I could feel it in their voice. So he really, really taught me. And he told me, he says, look, he says, Joan, he said, if ever you want to do anything, I will come to your country. So he did a presentation called Blind Ambitions, Who Was Handicapped. And let me tell you, it was the most profound presentation I had ever heard because in it, he broke it down talking about handicap is not what you think. Lots of people walking around here with sight, with money, with education, with all the trappings that God could give you, but they are blind and they are handicapped. It was through meeting Mr. Alaturki that he really taught me and stayed with me all these years. But the real kicker was, he wasn't just any man. He was a member of the royal family, Prince Abdulaziz Alaturki. And he was the one that taught me about blindness and who's blind. And this is why I wanted to put on the documentary called Blind Ambitions, Who is Handicapped. And that is what we do.
Wow.
I want to applaud you as well here in the studio for that, because a lot of people who I worked at the post office, and one of the things about the post office, when you mention handicaps, those type of things, is the post office, being a federal institution, did not have the same biases that a private business would have. And I got a chance to work around people who had different challenges, I'll put it that way, but those challenges never stopped them from being ambitious, aggressive, and pursuing things. And I think until people are really exposed to those type of things, they don't really know. We go on about our life, but you can have sight and not have sight. You think you have sight, but as you said, he didn't have to see those things, but he had insight. He could feel the vibration. He could feel the emotion and the personality without having to judge it visually. And a lot of times, unfortunately, we judge everybody visually. So look at that bum over there. There was somebody, I'm not going to tell Theo who it is, but it was somebody she had introduced me to. I've been with her over 20 years, so nobody's going to know what I'm talking about. But I thought this lady was like, wow, she seems to be extremely challenged, this, that, and the other. And then found out that the lady had a doctorate degree and some other things. But because I looked and judged her from what I saw, I put her in a different category. I felt so ashamed of myself. I'd never let that happen again.
So one of the things that I do want to talk about, the greater vision, it's about the African diaspora. I mean, I have really, really been truly blessed to be able to live in South Africa, to teach, to work with the U.S. Embassy, to be a part of the American culture in SA, which is short for South Africa, to bring the American corner, to bring American culture. I was the very first person of color to teach at Hendrik Verwoerd High School. And Hendrik Verwoerd was the founding father of apartheid. So being able to bring our culture, because they knew nothing about us. Just because, and one thing that people don't realize is just because we call ourselves African Americans, but when you go overseas, you are not an African, you are an American. Understand that. And it was very, very interesting, my experience going over to South Africa. You might not believe this, and please don't hate me, but it was not the Africans who greeted me. It was the Afrikaans. It was the Afrikaans who were the ones who made me feel home, who at home, and they protected me. And they were the ones, who really gave me the education about Africa. In South Africa, you have three major groups. You have the Afrikaans, you have the Zulu, Sa, and all the different tribes. And then you have another group called the colored. So the colored people are the people who are of mixed origin. And so it's unfortunately, we're living in a strange time, but it's a time of chaos, but it's also a time of great opportunity, and it's a time of awakening. So we have to wake up and understand that the fight has not finished. The fight is the beginning, and it's 2.0, and you have to be able to understand what is going on in America and around the world, and where we must position ourselves to be ready to do whatever it is to take up that gauntlet again, to continue our fight for freedom, for justice, and equality.
Now, one of the things you said, because I've done some studying on South Africa, as well as there was a photographer, Peter Magubane, who did a lot of documentaries on South Africa and apartheid. And as you mentioned, the three different groups, but that's kind of similar to what they have in India, which is basically a caste system. And so the Afrikaans, who were of Dutch origin back in the 16th, 17th century, when they went to South Africa, took over basically everything, which is, as you say, that's how apartheid, as the Dutch kind of expanded, they took over all of the raw materials, et cetera, and production of that. And then you had the colors, which were basically like people, like you said, mixed origin. They could have been from India and certain other nations, but they weren't. But you know what I was thinking about when you said how the Afrikaans treated you, which they still pretty much probably run the whole economy there, I would imagine, or at least a majority of it, even though Nelson Mandela became president, they hadn't divided up the land where they got the vote, I'll put it that way, but they didn't get control over a lot of the resources because those were already, just like here, you know, we have multinational corporations. They may be here, but we don't control them. They control us. So my only point was just that the caste system, I think it's easier to welcome a foreign person, even of African descent, into your country as it is to the people who are native to that country. The same thing happened here in the United States. Africans could come here and they were welcomed in universities, but if you were living here as an American Black person, you didn't get that same respect because they just don't do that.
Especially, but let me go back and say something that what you had meant, that you said earlier. You know, if you look at what's going on in South Africa now, you have first, when I was there, it was Thabo Mbeki who was the president. And under Thabo Mbeki, you know, I did see a lot of change. And let me say that although the Black Africans, you know, unfortunately, I have to tell the truth. The Black Africans, a lot of them who were not educated, treated me very, very badly. And why? It was not racism. It's called colorism. It's because they told me, as a Black sister, she said, my sister, I will tell you why that the people do not like you. Because of your color. Because you can be an honorary white. You can go anywhere in this country and be treated very well because of your color. And she said, because and the reason why the sisters don't like you is because you're going to take their food and their man.
Oh, wow. Oh.
You know, so I found it very interesting, but through my stay in South Africa, I met some wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people. And it really let me see what I was made of. For the first 6 months, I cried like a baby. I was so afraid. I balled up in a fetal position and I just cried every night because what I saw broke me. You know, I asked God to please give me strength. I wanted to run out of that place screaming and hollering back to the airport as fast as I can get there. But what I experienced in South Africa, the cruelty and the things that they did to one another and their children and how they were treated, oh my God. But what it did for me is it allowed me to appreciate where I come from.
And give us an example of how they treated.
Oh my Lord. Okay, now when I was there, 1,000 people a day were dying of AIDS.
Oh.
So I worked in partnership with the Department of Education and Cultural Affairs with the U.S. Embassy. I was the head of the HIV peer education program. And what we did, we went around and we went to different schools and we were educating the people about AIDS and what it was and what it wasn't. Unfortunately, many of the South Africans, the Black Africans, thought that AIDS was a spell that was cast upon them. And if they had sex with babies, they would be cured of AIDS. So there were so many of the mothers who were gifting these little babies to their fathers and grandfathers to have sex with these children. And they would have sex with those babies and they would kill them. They would burn them, thinking that they would destroy the DNA evidence. It was the most horrific thing that I had ever experienced and heard about, and it just broke me into so many pieces. And if it wasn't for going to church and finding those people that were like-minded, I don't know if I could have made it. with all the things I had learned. I wasn't prepared for that. Nobody prepared me, for the environment. And then once I got stronger and I understood where I was, and let me tell you this experience. I met this gentleman. His name is Carlton McQuavo. And I was in South Africa for 3 days. I had a television interview and they all came out. And so then Mr. Henny DeToy, who was the headmaster at Hinton Verwoerd, he called me on the loudspeaker and he says, "Joanne, there is a man here to see you." And I thought that he must have been mistaken because I only had been there for 3 days. Who could possibly know that I was there? And I go by Joanne or Joan. And so I said, no, there must be a mistake. So he says, "Come to the office. It's a man here to see you." So I said, no, there's nobody here to see me. So sure enough, he says he's outside in front of the gate and he has kids. So I came outside and sure enough, there was this man with this big giant smile on his face and he had one kid in his arms and two around his legs. He says, "Hello, my sister. Welcome to South Africa. My name is Carlton McQuavo." And so, it was so unbelievable to see this man. And so he told me his story. He said, "My sister, you are my sister." He said, when I came to America and I got my master's degree, he said, I didn't know anybody. I was in New York. He said, I was so afraid. I was so alone. He said, and these Americans took me in and they treated me like I was family. And he said, if ever an American came to my country, I would treat them like family. So it was Carlton McQuavo who gave me the beautiful experience about South Africa, its history, about the relationships. He taught me stuff that you would never read in a book. Carlton McQuavo took me to a place called Ottersville. And it was a place where people were dying. And he did not tell me why I was there for. And this really was a test. And Carlton took me to church and he just showed me what it was, how people should treat one another. So one day, Carlton always had this habit of bumping me on my elbow, which really irritated me in the car. So he said, "My sister, can you come to pray with me?" I said, "Well, sure." Again, he didn't tell me where I was going. So we drove, and then we finally got to this place, and it was a hospital. I said, "Oh, okay." But he told me that his cousin was dying of AIDS. At that point, AIDS was just something that I talked about it. I went to tell people about, what it is and how to protect themselves, but I never came face to face with it until then. So his cousin, Irene, she had AIDS, and I never had seen somebody like that.
She had it.
Yes.
Yeah,
and I mean, she had it and she was dying, and her physical features were deformed because of the disease. Wow. And she had turned, she was like skeletal. And then her chest was protruded out. And Carlton asked me to pray for her. And then I wanted to touch her, but I was afraid to touch her. This is for my own ignorance. I'm there to teach. I'm there, but I wasn't taught. So I was so disappointed in myself because I didn't touch her. And I went home and I cried again. But let me tell you, when Carlton bumped me on my elbow, he said, "My sister, can you come and pray?" I said, "Yes." So when I got to that hospital, I got pictures. Her minister was there. Carlton was there. I grabbed her and I hugged her. I touched her and I prayed a prayer on her. And I prayed the blood of Jesus down on her because they said that if an American comes to pray for them, their prayers will be answered. But if an African comes to pray for them, they will pray for their death and to steal their belongings and take their refrigerator.
Oh, wow.
So I prayed the blood of Jesus down on Irene. And when I got finished praying for Irene, this woman came from other places around the hospital. And she says, "My sister, can you come pray for my mother?" I prayed for her mother. And then her mother, her name was Candy. And I prayed for Miss Candy. And so what I did was after I prayed for her, she cried and she wept. She said, I will not be afraid to go to sleep tonight because this woman has prayed for me. Because in AIDS, they feel if they go to sleep, they will die. I learned so much about Africa and myself in the process, about who I was and what my journey was. And it started in South Africa.
Now, we've got about 8 minutes just to keep some awareness of our time, because the sands are falling in our west. You know, I think like one of the things you were saying earlier about how they feared you taking their man because of your skin tone. Well, we still have that same issue here in the United States where light skin, I hear rappers even to this day, they'll say, hey, what's up, red bone or light skin? So we've been dealing with this within our own race or ethnicity for hundreds of years. And unfortunately, the old brown paper bag test back in the day. So this is a global thing. But I am happy that when you mentioned the African diaspora, because there's a brother here we've had on the show twice, Dennis Boatwright, who has he's working with the Sahel nations over there, Burkina Faso, Burundi, and one of the other ones.
Yeah, I was in Burundi for 3 years. I was in Bujumbura, Burundi, you know, working with them and working with the military and training them in capacity building and education.
And he happens to have a Pan-African conference office here in, well, it's actually in Southfield, on Southfield Road, but he's spoken to the ambassadors, establishing a relationship between them and us, and the Sahel nation just being 3 at this point, but they've ousted basically all of the European countries that were, you know, taking raw materials, resources and that type of thing. And somewhere along the line, I'm going to try to hook the two of you up because he spends a lot of time with that.
But can I just mention, if we have time, you know, I really want to give, you know, shout out to Elaine McKenzie. And she's, as a matter of fact, she's a Highland Parker right there on Connecticut Street. And what she has been doing is she galvanized all of us together to create the TMB Global News Network, and within that, the ADI, the African Diaspora Institute. And the African Diaspora Institute, we're working with Ghana, we're working with Nigeria, we're working with South Africa, you know, we're working with Uganda and all these different places to bring awareness to the beauty of the holistic African diaspora and what we bring and how we share. What we want to call the world to do is we are not segregated. We are one tribe. We are one tribe of African people. And we are going to do a lot of wonderful things in the coming year, you know, to promote the African diaspora right here in Detroit.
Can you give us contact information for that?
Yes, but you can go to www.tmbglobal.news and you'll find that information.
Is the AIDS epidemic getting better now?
Oh, yes. You know, and what really helped that is Nelson Mandela. When Nelson Mandela came out because his son had died of AIDS, then it was more when he came out to talk about his son, it really relaxed the people. Because, you know, it was so hard for them to understand, and to, even with people who are educated, it wasn't a spell. You know, you cannot get rid of AIDS that way. So it took years and years and years, you know, to cultivate a trust in South Africans for them to understand what AIDS was and how we handle that. And so, yeah, but it's a lot different now.
Okay, we're down to the last 3 minutes. Theo?
Oh, wow. I first want to say thank you so much for coming to be with us this morning and to share.
My pleasure.
When I started the program, I talked about getting close to Thanksgiving, and there's so many things to be thankful for.
Yes.
And you have shared with us some things that we definitely need to be thankful for. And I'm glad that you've given contact information for people to get in touch with you. and to learn more. And, you know, I do pray over time that this colorism, I think you called it,
Yes.
It gets addressed and begins to disappear. Because I know there are those who want to keep us divided because it's easier for them to handle the black community when you get them and keep them divided. Well, we saw a lot of that on November the 5th. And so we pray for things to get better that way.
Yes.
Hood Research works hard to bring forth the guests who can share what is going on now.
Yes.
To plan for our future, to work towards our future, to make things better.
Yes.
And I know that it's not necessary for you to know everything. What is necessary is for you to know how to find what you need when you need it.
Yes.
We seek out as much information as we can to share with you. And this morning is an example of that. The research has a contact email, which is contact@hoodresearch.org. That again, that's CONTACT, the @ symbol, then HOODRESERCH.org. Contact@hoodresearch.org. Our phone number is area code 248-234-2371. Again, the contact number is area code 248-234-2371 to call Hood Research. We're here every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10:30. And we also have a conference call every Saturday from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. to share more information to help us become a better group of people. And again, thank you for being.
And as I always say at closing, if you want to be nothing, do nothing. But the only problem with doing nothing is you never know when you're finished.
Yes. And tune in again next Monday at 9 a.m. And if you call that number or go to our website, you will see the numbers for the conference call that takes place every Saturday from 3 p.m. until 6. And thank you again, John Washington, for being with us.
Thank you.
All right. And peace. Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton.
And I am Thabiti Mpinga.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback,
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
And take us along with you. Feedback.